Stephen, you've set up the Magdalene Survivors Together Group. How did you actually become involved with the whole Magdalene story at the beginning?
Well, essentially I saw the Magdalene sisters, and at the end of that it says that the women got out, and what I was interested in was, where have those women gone now? What are they doing? What has happened to their lives? And what I tried to do then was I tried to track down a number of the women, and I came upon this woman, Maureen Sullivan, and it was through Maureen's story essentially that I got to meet other Magdalene survivors, and that resulted then in the documentary, the charity single. And I suppose what I did was I took on their stories and started writing letters or making phone calls on their behalf to like different government ministers, different TDs, and we started this ball rolling of looking at state interaction, the human rights story. So we tried to change the perception of what people thought the Magdalene laundries were to what they really were. And I suppose the women allowed me to understand, okay, they weren't just put in there because they had children out of wedlock, they were put in there because they were young girls and all that. So that has started, then the enormity of it unfolded, and I suppose it got bigger and got out of control in the sense that I never envisioned that I would take on the women's campaign. And then we had set up the group Magdalene Survivors Together, and through that group then they became the first women ever to meet with government officials in the Department of Justice, and they kind of opened up that door for other people to kind of come forward, or other groups to kind of say, well, the human rights story and the slave labour is the interest of us, and this is what we were looking at. And that then resulted, you know, in meeting with the Taoiseach and obviously the state apology. So essentially I suppose from the ages of 22 to 29, I turned 29 this week, I've effectively been working on the Magdalene laundry story morning, noon and night. And as a result of that then 50 women in total have come forward and they've just told me their stories. So I suppose in that sense it's a way of recording the historical aspect of it and keeping the testimonies so that people will know in future, this is what happened, this is what the women did, and this is what they achieved. And I think what was achieved on Tuesday was absolutely remarkable, that a group of women between 60 and 80 who were so dehumanised, so I suppose stripped of their dignity, no education, were able to come back and challenge the state and the government and the church. And I suppose I effectively helped in that process. That's my role, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Tuesday night was an enormous big deal for the women, and also probably for the whole country, where you saw the Taoiseach stand up and make such a fantastic apology. But where to now?
Well, I suppose in the context of what we want to achieve now is to ensure that the women get the best possible compensation deal. All they've ever looked for is their unpaid wages. I don't think that's too much for them to ask for, and I think it is an entitlement that everybody around the country would say yes, they should get that. In that context, we've got Frank Buttimer solicitors in Cork to advise us legally on what the women are signing up to, so the terms of reference for the Magdalene Fund. What we'd hope that will be achieved out of that then essentially is that the women will get their entitlement, and once they get that, I feel then that we've achieved every single goal that we set out to achieve. But I don't want the women to walk away feeling that they're less worth than, do you know what I mean, they feel, and I think that's the most important thing from that element.